Yeah, let me share the formula for failure with you. This is my new cookbook. I probably hope it sells a lot, but you might be like, what? Formula for failure? Who wants to buy that? Well, I guess a lot of people already know this because you listen to a lot of people talk about the formula for success, but not a lot of people talk about the formula for failure. And if you have a look in the world, there's more people that are failing than there is people that are succeeding. So I think we should, try to focus a bit more on the formula for failure. Probably some people doing this and not actually knowing what they're doing. So I'll just start. Like, I've got a new cookbook, and these are the recipe for failures. These are the formula for failure. If you do this every day repeatedly, or if you're doing this every day repeatedly, then you would let me know if you're failing or you're succeeding. And this would prove my point. So, number one, the recipe for failure is failure of judgment. Like the failure of judgment, the decisions you make, those are the recipe for failure. And number two, it lacks about developing your own philosophy, your own attitude, your own mental thinking. You might say, like, okay, I don't have to think. Well, obviously, when you don't think, someone else thinks for you. If you don't have a plan, you become part of someone else's plan. And so you walk through the rest of your life, you're in your 50s, your 60s, every day, you're waiting for someone else to help you out, change your life, waiting for a miracle. I'd probably say, you're practicing the formula for failure really well. Really well. The thing you ought to understand about failure is, like, failure doesn't happen in one day. You make a lot of judgment errors. It doesn't happen on one day. You make a lot of mistakes. It doesn't happen on one day. You refuse to think. It doesn't happen in one day. Like, if you refuse to think and plan for yourself today, that doesn't mean you failed. This happens over time. It becomes an accumulated disaster. Accumulated disaster is like in your 40, your 50, and you look back and say, what have I achieved? I'll give an example of an accumulated disaster you might be familiar with, especially, coming from where we have come from. You've reached a stage of accumulated disaster when you're calling people every day or every month or week to pay your house rent. Every month or end, you're calling people to pay your house rent. You're calling people every time to borrow 2-3K. You're wanting to have something without being able to give a good services for it. You're always waiting for the end of the month to borrow money from other people, even though you've got a job, you've got a career that you go to every single month, but you cannot wait for every single month so you could borrow some more money from other people. You're always forced to say, what have you done for me, to other people. You're very entitled, either because of your age or family relationship. You feel very entitled of what other people should do for you. You never ever think or believe you can do anything for any other person, but you just feel people should always do something for you. If you are in one of these categories, I would say you have reached a stage of accumulated disaster, and that you are practicing the formula for failure perfectly well. I will give you another example, especially from a religious background. Most people think, or most people believe, you have to pray for everything. I am a praying man. But some people, they've taken life, they've given up on life. For some people, it is easier to say a prayer than to face life. They rather pray for 10 hours than think for 1 hour on how to make meaning of their life, how to contribute, how to change, how to impact life. It's easier, just the same way it's easier to speak, to talk rather than to act. So for a lot of people, it is easier to go on your knees and pray for hours on end rather than taking an active approach of trying to improve yourself, trying to develop yourself, trying to acquire a new skill, trying to change your attitude. Because for some people, whatever comes up on them is based on belief, is based on other people's intention, is based on other people's wishes. They can never take responsibility for anything. So if you are in this state, you should understand that you've gotten to the stage of accumulated disaster. So regardless of your upbringing, regardless of your parent, regardless of your country, when a person knows what they are here to do, that person is unstoppable. When your desire controls your choice, as what you want controls you. We all have a shopping list when we go to get food or whatever. We'll have a shopping list. We'll put things in a basket. But in a personal life, are you putting things in your life you wish to achieve? Are you writing down anything? Are you putting things in plan? Or are you controlling your life, or are you allowing your life to control you? This is some people just are like boats. They just drift about, let the wind carry them wherever they want to go. They have no control in life. They have no say in life. They are basically just put their sail up. The wind makes the decision for them. They've lost the will. They've lost the power. The only thing that separates us human from animal is the power, the ability to think, the ability to make decision, the ability to say, this is what I want and I'm going to go for it. And now, like in my other book, and I've got some other recipes as well. And now in this book, it's the recipe for success. Now, success means different thing to everyone. I'm just saying, simply, the recipe for success is just to ask yourself one question every single day. And the question is this: why? Just ask yourself why. That's all you have to do every single day. Just ask yourself why. By asking yourself this simple question, you would start a whole new process in your life. What would this do for you? The simple question of asking yourself why will start you on a whole new thinking plan. You will become a thinking person. There's a book that says it's better to have an empty pocket than an empty head. Because if you have an empty pocket and you have a head full of wisdom, full of ideas, full of thinking, you can always make wealth, make money to fill your pocket. Or if you have a pocket full of money and an empty head, when the money runs out, you are done. You are finished. That's why you would see someone win a lottery or make a deal of some millions, and within the next 6 months, 1 year, they broke as nothing. They back to zero. That's an example of having an empty head and a full pocket. With a full head, you can grow, you can invest, you can make decisions, you can think. But with an empty head, you haven't got the capacity, the ability to think. The truth about success is, whatever success means to you, the truth I have come to realize by speaking to successful people, smart people, people who have started from nothing and made something of themselves, is that you don't have to change your country. Wherever you are, there is an opportunity there waiting to be exploited. There's a lot of people there who are making it in every field. You don't have to change your country. You cannot change your parents, that's for sure. You cannot even change or choose where you were born. You just have to change your mindset. You just have to start thinking, start using your mind a bit more, and start asking yourself that simple question, why? And that's all you have to do. Ask yourself, why? Why am I at this age and have nothing? Why am I at this age and I can't grow? Why am I at this age and I'm always waiting to beg people? Why am I at this age and I can't even pay my bills? And I'm telling you, if you can change your thinking and not your country, you can change your life. You can change your income. You can change your account balance. You can change your skill. All this equity you could possibly want out of life using the only thing that makes you human. They say the thing that makes us human, the thing that separates us human from animal is just the ability to think, ability to decide, ability to say, there's traffic today, I'm not going to go out. There's rain today, I'm not going to go out. It's cold today, I'm not going to travel east. Like an animal, they follow instinct. They're hungry, they go hunt. They're not hungry, they sleep and hibernate. But with human, we have the ability to think. And when you stop thinking, when you start relying on other people to make your life for you, you have put yourself back in that animal state. In the state where you just let life carry you wherever it feels. In the state where you can't make a decision for yourself. In the state of less than human. In the state of not even being able to contribute to yourself, to your society, to your family, to your environment. You don't need to change the country economy. You don't need to change the climate. You don't need to change the ruling party. The sun will always be there. The rain will be there. Everything that is there today will always be there tomorrow. But the only thing that you can change to change your environment, to change your life, is to change your mind, to change how you think, to change how you see yourself, to see yourself more than an animal, to stop folding your hands and thinking man is going to come from heaven. I see some people, they spend months, weeks sleeping in a religious house, praying night and day, but they never invest a single hour in their self to think, how can I be creative? How can I do something? This whole thing around me, how can I make a change? And even I know some people, and even myself, I've tried to invest in some people and say, where you are today, what can you change? What can you do different? What services can you offer that you think is required? Look around you. I'm sure you've heard about this story, Acres of Diamond. If you haven't heard the story, Acres of Diamond, I would tell you that. Let me know. I will tell you that story. That story tells you wherever you are, there is an opportunity lying under your feet. You just have to train yourself to able to see an opportunity when it is there. Some people, opportunity will slap them in the face without even realizing. They only realize the opportunity when someone else is making use of it. As I say, you don't have to change your country. Even when I talk to some people about different ideas, like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Why don't you start this and that? The first thing I hear from people is, oh, at my level, how can I go and do this? At my level, how can I go and do that? But that person you're calling every end of the month to ask for house rent, to ask for kids' school fees, to borrow some money, they're probably doing that same thing you thought you're too big to go and do at their level. They started at that point in one time at their level. And through accumulated effort over 4, 5, 6 years, they've reached a different level. And now you're thinking at your level. At your level, you can't pay your house rent. At your level, you can't feed properly. At your level, you can't travel. At your level, you haven't got a decent house. And you're saying at your level. You should be saying at your level, what do I need to do to provide for my family, for my kids? You shouldn't be saying at my level. And that's the power, that's the ability of thinking. When you start to think, when you start to use your mind, I'll tell you something about thinking. I have practiced this. Why? I didn't wake up and have these ideas. I knew none of this from where I grew up. I grew up exactly the same place as you. I couldn't choose where I was born. I couldn't choose my parent or my family. But by reading, by associating with people who knew better, I developed a thinking ability. And that's what's helping me today, and that's what's guiding me where I'm going. The thinking ability, the ability to ask yourself that simple question, why? The why question is one of the most important questions in life, because the why question separates us. There's two things. The why question says to me, I am a human, I have a plan, I have to contribute. And when you don't ask yourself the why question, then means you have no plans for yourself. And by default, you become part of someone else's plan. And that's why you see someone who's worked for 60 years retire and nothing to show for it. Someone with 4 kids, nothing to show for it, could hardly put a food on the table. But they're a hard worker. They go to work every single day. They work long hours. The hardest job. But they have decided not to ask themselves why. The biggest gold mine in the world they have, they've decided not to exploit it. Someone says a human mind is bigger than all the gold mine and diamond mine in the world mined together. But we as humans, because this was given to us free, we have decided not to exploit it, not to use it, to overlook it, to look for outside influences to change your life. And as I leave you with this today, the simple thing I'm saying, life for you would only change when you change.